Youghiogheny River, Ohiopyle State Park. We're taking the down trail to the Cucumber Rapids Boulder Field. Cucumber Rapids Boulder Field has a spectacular fossil boulder which has the fossilized remnants of some sort of plant type of thing. Today the river's only 5 feet. Normal is 2 to 3 feet. April 21st, 2024, 3 o'clock. On the 3rd of April 2024, a couple of weeks ago, the river was up to 14 feet. So we came to check it when it had dropped a few feet, and now we're come to check it again. It's dropped even more. So it's dropped all the way down from 14 feet down to 5 feet. Normal is 2 to 3 feet, so 2 to 5 feet. More on the 2 to 3 feet side is normal. When it's 5 feet, we can see the spectacular fossil boulder. The other day I think the river was like 7 feet or 8 feet or 9 feet when I last was here. Right there, this is the big eddy area. And this week I spoke to a guy who works on the river rescue team. He's one of the volunteer firemen who also is training in river rescue. They have their own equipment, so they don't have to use the stretcher that's here. This yellow stretcher here at Cucumber Rapids Boulder Field, I believe this is at the 20-foot flood mark. So if the river's 20 feet, it comes up to roughly right around a feet or so below this yellow stretcher. And the I guess that's an emergency box with a few emergency equipment, probably a line to throw out into the river to grab somebody. When I was here, when it was 14 feet, the water came up all the way up to here, but it didn't quite make it up to here, so the final 6 or 8 feet, it didn't make it up here. This year the highest it's been is 14 feet. That's the Cucumber Rapids, and we're coming into the boulder field. And the boulder field used to have this incredible debris pile here for a number of years, which was deposited here by the last high river, which was about 16 feet, I think, a couple of years ago. I'll have to find the website that has all the day-by-day river heights, and then start keeping track of that, and then tie that in with all of my videos so that these can be used for visual comparison. This yellow stretcher is a comparison point. When I was standing here on the 3rd of April, right there next to the stretcher, and looking at the river, you couldn't see any of these boulders down here. They were all underwater. The river was all over top all of these. And all the debris that's been settled here is a new fresh series of debris, and the debris pile that was over here has been cleaned out and new debris has been put in. Not as much debris as was here before April 3rd though. April 3rd cleaned this most of this out, and all my videos for the last couple of years show that. So this is the 21 April 2024 aftermath videos of the Cucumber Rapids Boulder Field area. And what's here now? I'm carrying some example of the sticks that get washed down the river. I think most of these sticks I'm holding I picked up from this area. Each of them have beaver teeth marks at the ends of these sticks. and they're stripped off of all their bark because the beavers eat the branches of trees, pull them into the river, then they munch on them and take the bark off. And then the beaver trash floats down rivers and collects in areas like this. So if you learn to spot your beaver teeth marks on the ends of sticks, which are generally cleaned of all their bark, because that's what the beavers eat, they eat the bark off. And I highly recommend looking at a video channel called Mike's Videos The Beavers. He's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. He's got hundreds of excellent raw videos of beavers. Beavers being beavers, eating, doing all their beaver habits. And he's kind of like a beaver whisperer. The beavers even come up and sniff his foot. He's got remarkable patience to be around the beavers, and they've learned to accept him. So I learned from hiking here for 10 years myself. It took about 4 years. I said, who's doing all these sticks? Is it Cub Scouts up river? Somebody who loves to whittle? And no, it's beavers. And Mike's Videos Beavers channel proves this is beavers. So if you're in Youghiogheny River and you ever come to the down path from the Great Gorge Trail, there's 2 down paths that reach down here to the Cucumber Rapids boulder field. Carefully, before you pick up any sticks, make sure there's no snakes. Most people who come here in the summer literally cannot see the snakes. I couldn't see the snakes for years. I've hiked through this area for years before I was unable to spot the snakes, until even the photographers from Ohiopyle photography business, who sit on one of those outer rocks out there and they film the kayakers going through the rapids here, because this is a very exciting place for the kayakers to fly out of their kayaks, and then the photographers take pictures of them. Then you can go to the Ohiopyle photography business and see if they took your picture while you were coming down in a kayak. Then you purchase some pictures from them. Mike, who is a Bay photographer, he was given a snake stick. Sticks for catching snakes. And so he said to me, in his best year, he collected 19 copperheads in this area, just to make sure the tourists, who nobody can ever see them, aren't messed with. It took me years, and I only noticed it because if you walk slow, I walk real slow, it gives the snakes a chance to run out of the way. And you can go, oh, when they run out of the way, you can finally see them. I walked right by a copperhead once and didn't see him, not until I got fast and walking around for a couple of minutes, and then I looked back and saw this copperhead standing, or coiled up, right next to where I just walking by. Okay, this here is, in my opinion, the best, one of the best, if not the best, rock boulders, and it's here at Cucumber Rapids boulder field. You see all these brown areas. If you look very carefully, you can see the remnants of whatever the seed or plant life was, which is there in the rock. It's right here in the boulder. Fossilized. The fossilized plant matter is actually in the rock still. Fossilized stuff in there. It's almost like ribs on a seed pod on some of them. You can definitely see the fossilized undershell. You can even see this one almost has the outer shell part of it left right in there. Fossilized. See the ribbing on the whatever it is, the plant life in there. The ribbing, the fossilized ribbing of the plant matter. Fossilized ribbing. Anyways, Cucumber Rapids Boulder Field. This is definitely, and it took me years to really notice this. You see it in all different lights and all different seasons and weather. You can clearly see it when the river is, I'd say, probably 7 feet or lower. You can climb down here. The river doesn't rise up that high. We're probably, that's 5 feet, so I'd have to get up to about, probably about 8 feet. Probably about 8 feet. You probably can't see it. It's a little tricky. You'd be standing in water if you're standing right here. This is definitely one of the secret treasures of the park right here, this particular boulder. I call it my favorite fossil boulder at Ohiopyle. It's a Cucumber Rapids boulder field. You can see the fossilized something. Plant matter, I guess that's plant matter. Cucumber Rapids boulder field, and this is what's left of the debris field. There used to be a massive debris field that was cleaned out on the 3rd of April when the river got up 14 feet. Cleaned this whole area out. This is the new deposit. This big fat white branch right there, that is a beaver cut piece of debris, you can tell. I'll show you why in a second when I get over there. If you look carefully at the ends of it, you can see that it's got this triangular shape to it. It's very much eroded, but that triangular shape was caused by a beaver. He ate all the bark off of this and left it like this to just get washed down the river. When I look for beaver trash, I look for the teeth marks. I look for that triangular end. and teeth marks in it. Some of the stick debris has the teeth marks going around the sides of it. This area I recommend only coming when it's really cold, so the snakes, which you can never see, you don't step on them, because of all the stories I've heard from people, the only times anyone was bitten by a snake was when they didn't see the snake. And that's been, I've never been bitten, but I've never even had one try to get me. But I've literally walked 2 feet away from them, and then they finally moved, and I didn't even see them until they moved. I've taken probably about 5 videos walking in here seeing different snakes. There was a copperhead down there. Mike, the photographer, told me about it when I was admiring the fossil boulder, and he was right. He said you probably won't be able to see it, so I gave him my camera and he filmed it, and even in the film it's hard to see the copperhead. They are so camouflaged, so it's good to know what they look like, where they hang out, so that if you are hiking here a lot, you know generally where not to go. They kind of choose certain spots, coil themselves up and hang out there. Today the weather is 50 degrees, so it's safe to go through here. And it's April 21st, so it's down to almost 30 some degrees at night, so shouldn't be any snakes in here today. Another great boulder, has some remnants in it, plant remnants fossilized in it. This whole area was underwater on 3 April, so when the water gets up that high, it washes this area out totally. I'll leave this collection of beaver sticks here for anybody who's hikes to here. You can pick up a little beaver stick treasure. Call this Stick Beach because it's the eddy area. When I spoke to one of the river emergency guys last week, he told me that this is very often where people who fall in the river eventually wash into this area here. Makes sense. This is where the Ohiopyle river guides, rafting companies, does their training. Right here. This is a very common rapids to be flipped in, so they train here. And I videoed in past years them training here. It's a beautiful eddy area. So you flip, you land in the water, you laugh, and then you get out over here. This is nice smooth water, you can get back in your boat, fix your kayak, whatever. It's a very difficult area to hike over there. Really difficult. You can't hike down to the Cucumber Rapids from the other side. That's the Ferncliff Peninsula right over there. There's the Ferncliff Trail up there. Hike down and you can film or hang out right over there. There's a down trail off of the main trail up there. It's not labeled, but I've got videos how to spot it and take it down if you want. Alright, so I look into the piles of debris at the ends of the sticks to see if they have the beaver teeth marks on them. I see a couple. This area, I have seen a snake right in this area before. Alright, here is one. This is a eroded stick, but it's a beaver chewed stick. We'll leave this one right here. It's not that spectacular. I like to collect ones that I can hand to tourists or leave for tourists to find, and it's then their little connection to nature and a beaver. There was a second one here, but I lost track of it. It's like a game of pickup sticks. You can lose track of whatever it was once you walk close to it. Here it is. All right, there's 3 phases